Jehovah, Jehovah, a God compassionate and merciful, slow to anger, and abundant in kindness. This is the Bible's description of our Creator, Jehovah God. The Bible also says, whoever does not love has not come to know God, because God is love. Only by loving can a human being know who Jehovah is. It is during the emotion of love and the carrying out of that love, which we call kindness, that a person sees the personality of Jehovah in his heart and his mind's eye. Kindness is the action of love towards someone, the carrying out of the love we feel towards someone. Love is the desire to do good to the other. When we carry out that desire in an action, we are being kind. The desire to do good to another is put into action through kindness. Giving, generosity, and kindness are what Jehovah is abundant in. And only when we do these things do we really know who Jehovah is. Proverbs chapter 19 verse 22 says, "The beauty of Adam is his kindness." And 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 7 says, "Man is God's image and glory." Each Jehovahite wants to reflect Jehovah by being kind. The natural man, as Jehovah created him, is an image and reflection of Jehovah. We agree with the Apostle Paul, who said in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 18, "We with unveiled faces reflect like mirrors the glory of Jehovah." By being kind, we can know who Jehovah is and be just like him as we were originally created. King David of ancient Israel had a good relationship with Jehovah. In Psalm 26 verse 3 he says, "Your kindness is always in front of me." Because the Apostle John said that a person who does not love cannot know God, we know that David was a man of love and kindness. Because David loved, he could see Jehovah's kindness. Sometimes a man gives a woman some beautiful flowers. Evolutionists will tell you that he gave the flowers because mechanical processes and chemical hormones caused the man to do it, just because he was trying to continue the existence of his species and survive. Or they will say the pleasure of released hormones caused the man to give the flowers, implying that the man did it out of complete selfishness. What does this show about evolutionists and atheists? They do not believe in real love, and they do not understand real love. Because they themselves do not love, they have not come to know who Jehovah is. They have no faith in real love because they do not have that quality and cannot see God. They lower man to a machine and an animal because they cannot see Jehovah God reflecting from the man who gives flowers to his woman because he loves her. They don't want to see Jehovah reflecting from him because they have rejected him. They are not able to see Jehovah because they do not love and believe in selfishness. But David said that Jehovah's kindness was always in front of him. Unlike evolutionists and atheists who believe that beautiful flowers are beautiful just because they are trying to attract pollinators for the sole reason of self-preservation, David would have perceived that Jehovah created the flowers the way he did to please the eyes of us humans and make us happy. He had Jehovah's kindness in front of him always because he perceived the things around him as gifts. Gifts given to us through Jehovah's love and kindness. Because David himself was a man of love and kindness, he was able to see all the kind, loving gifts that Jehovah has filled our earth and lives with. Each one of us needs to ask himself, is that the way I interpret the things around me? Or have I been infected by the world's cold, loveless and faithless, evolutionist and atheistic attitude? Satan and his army of demons, who are the enemies of Jehovah God, are trying to turn the whole of mankind against Jehovah. They want to get every human on their side of the battle line for the war of Armageddon against Jehovah, Jesus and their armies. Evolution and atheism are some things that they use to blind the minds of people to the reality and truth about Jehovah. Another tactic they use is to encourage religious people to behave badly in the name of God, so that people will get stumbled towards Jehovah and lose their faith in him. But we now want to focus on two threats that threaten our love and our ability to see Jehovah: loneliness and injustice. When a person is lonely or isolated, he cannot carry out an act of kindness to another human being. If he or she is alone for a long time, he or she may even forget what kindness is and could lose the emotion of love altogether. As past memories of positive human interactions fade, the person could grow colder, more empty, and feel like a mechanical robot, just trying to keep himself alive each day for his own survival. Proverbs 18 verse 22 says, from Jehovah's Word, the Bible translation, "The separated one is searching for his desire. He will be obstinate against all that is established." Being obstinate against what has been established by Satan's world or an apostate religious organization can be a good thing. But the Bible warns us about searching for our own self rather than for others. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 24 says, "Let no one be searching for his own self, but for the other." But being alone can make it more difficult to stop yourself from pursuing your own desires. This is good for Satan because he wants us all to become more selfish and lose our love and kindness for others and become blind to Jehovah so that we lose our faith in him and forget him. So loneliness is a threat to our ability to know Jehovah. It can be used by Satan to conquer us by destroying our love. We must counteract that threat by looking for ways to be kind to others. Loving others will cancel out the negative effects of loneliness and give us the power to conquer feelings of coldness and emptiness and successfully reflect our God Jehovah like a mirror. But Satan is making it more and more difficult to love others. This is how he is conquering the world and leading it to destruction. As people become more proud, more selfish, and more hateful, loving them becomes more difficult. And this leads us to the second threat: injustice. As the behavior of people continues to get worse and the world continues to get more corrupt, each one of us will suffer more acts of wrongdoing and hatred. We can find that we haven't yet recovered from one bad experience when someone else then mistreats us. On top of the wickedness of people, economic problems extreme weather, and bad health can affect us and make life feel unbearable. These sufferings, when we were only trying to do what is right in life, can make us feel angry. And when we cry out to God and we don't get the justice we prayed for, we can become very bitter. Jesus said, because of the increase of lawlessness, the love of many will cool off. Bitterness can cause our love to cool off. When our love cools off, our ability to see Jehovah reduces, and we start weakening in our faith. We then become more open to doubts about God's love for us. Not only because our own love has cooled off, but because Jehovah has not yet given us any justice. These things seem to reinforce each other, that Jehovah really doesn't care about what we have been through. Like putting more fuel into a fire, our anger can continue to grow, and we could get burned up in our impatience towards God and our hatred of the wicked. When our hearts are filled with anger because of injustice, we are at risk of being conquered by the loss of love. Ephesians 4 verse 26 and 27 says, "Let yourselves be angry, but do not sin. Let the sun not set with you in a provoked state, neither allow place for the devil." All of us will get angry, and it is even right to be angry at bad things. But if we let that anger become permanent in our heart, our love will die, we will lose our kindness, and we will become blind to Jehovah. We must conquer the threat of injustice by being kind. Being kind to someone else is a powerful weapon that can defend us against Satan's attempt to conquer us. It can help us to fight back and restore our faith in Jehovah and his love. Despite what we have been through, being kind to someone will help us to see again that Jehovah's kindness is always in front of us, that all the things around us are gifts from Jehovah. His love has not died, and nothing that we have suffered or are suffering has separated us from Jehovah's love. What if we are in a situation which causes loneliness or feelings of bitterness, but we cannot change the situation and cannot find a solution? After Jesus told his disciples that it is impossible for a rich and powerful person to inherit the kingdom of God, he then said, "This is impossible for men, but with God, all things are possible." When something would be impossible for us, Jehovah can make it possible. If you are in a situation that you cannot change, Jehovah can give you the necessary help to make the impossible possible. We do not need to be anxious, because Jehovah can, in an extreme situation, help us to feel love and be able to see him even when lonely or suffering injustice. Because kindness is so essential to our spiritual survival, Empire of Jehovah is launching Project Kindness. Over the next months and years, we hope to make high-quality films that help us to see love and kindness in action. By demonstrating acts of kindness, we can put that quality of Jehovah in front of the eyes of all of us in order to help us see Jehovah and be motivated to carry out acts of kindness. The most powerful thing a man can do in the life of someone else is to help the person to see Jehovah, his creator. There is nothing greater for a man than to see Jehovah, his God. Moses will testify to that when he comes back. Once we have seen Jehovah, we can then reflect like mirrors the glory of Jehovah so that others can see him. Not only will Project Kindness help people to see Jehovah, but it will help us to see Jehovah reflecting from the human being. This will encourage us by reassuring us that a human being can be the image and reflection of Jehovah. Empire of Jehovah is now looking for a high-quality video camera and photographic equipment, and actors and actresses who are willing to volunteer their time and effort to help us make short films. These films will present examples of acts of kindness. As an example, we could make a film about Elijah fleeing Jezebel. First Kings chapter 19 says, "He himself went into the wilderness a day's journey, and at length came and sat down under a certain broom tree. And he began to ask that his soul might die, and to say, 'It is enough. Now, O Jehovah, take my soul away, because I am no better than my forefathers.' Finally he lay down and fell asleep under the broom tree. But look, now an angel was touching him. Then he said to him, 'Rise up, eat.' When he looked, why, there at his head was a round cake upon heated stones and a jug of water. And he began to eat and drink, after which he lay down again. Later, the angel of Jehovah came back a second time and touched him and said, 'Rise up, eat, because the journey is too much for you.' So he rose up and ate and drank, and he kept going in the power of that nourishment." This beautiful example of kindness is an excellent example of the type of films that we will be making. We are also looking for singers and musicians who could help us with music and songs. Website managers, translators, and other specialists are also needed. Please come forward if you are able to help us in any way. We do not want to ask for money, because our enemies will be quick to accuse us, and people who are open to doubts of suspicion could be stumbled. But if anyone would like to donate something to help us buy the necessary equipment, please see Empire of Jehovah's bank details in the description below. By working together on Project Kindness, we can be a shining light that shines out of Satan's dark world. The light of love can pierce the darkness and stop it from conquering us. We can provide a refuge of light where good-hearted people can come for refreshment and peace and the restoration of spiritual vision and faith. By simply demonstrating acts of kindness, we can defeat Satan and the demons and play a part in the conquest of planet Earth by Jesus Christ's kingdom. Before the literal and physical war of Armageddon, there is an emotional and spiritual war that we are all involved in right now. It is a war for minds and hearts. Satan is fighting us with propagandist brainwashing, negative emotions, and the kindling of the fire of hate and anger. Empire of Jehovah is here to help you fight back. We want to empower you to defend yourself and come through the war completely victorious. We must not be conquered by the loss of love. We must conquer the threats of loneliness, injustice, and evolutionist propaganda by being kind. We can only see God when we love. We can only show Jehovah to others when we love. We can only reflect Jehovah like a mirror when we carry out an act of kindness to another. Only then can we be a true reflection of Jehovah, the God compassionate and merciful, slow to anger, and abundant in kindness.